Wonderful Friday night with you, everybody. Chris McDonald back with you one final time for the week, and we are live. We are live. I've got the war shirt on again tonight, but McDonald's not here tonight, so hold the kids, hide the kids. If you're not an adult in the house, see ya. Have a good one. This ain't the place for you tonight because we're about to get real here. We're grateful, man. We already got 90 people watching us here at 9:52 in the East. There must be some bored there must be some bored people here in America to be up this late. And anyway, now we're up to 101. There must be some just bored folks staying up to watch the McFiles this late at night. But we're grateful for you. And let me just go ahead and get this out of the way tonight. If you want to know who I'm running for or voting for, right here, you see that? That's who I'm voting for right there. That's who I'm voting for. That's who I'm voting for. And anyway, we'll get the show started out right. Had a good dinner tonight, and we're going to be taking some questions, and good to see everybody in the house tonight. We got about 102 folks in there. Hey, I do want to take a quick poll tonight, folks. If you're, I know that some of you down there in Florida, poll came out tonight in Gateway Pundit that Trump is leading DeSantis in his own state. I'm going to ask you a question tonight. This is going to be an unscientific McFile Friday night late poll because this is a Q&A, this and that kind of thing. DeSantis or Trump out there? DeSantis or Trump? Who's going to vote for who? Let's see what we got here tonight. I want to say hello to our Facebook audience tonight. Looks like we've got a robust crowd over in Facebook as well. Before I get to this poll, I want to just say we want to thank we got 28 in Facebook tonight, so we got a lot of folks. There's Trump. Mary says Trump. Good deal. And let's see who we got. Trump. I don't see a DeSantis yet. Man, we got 100% Trump or DeSantis. Trump or DeSantis. Trump without question. Okay. I do want to say this tonight, and I'm not taking issue with anybody. I'm getting it from both sides. I've been hearing a lot of people complaining about Trump and telling me, well, we can't trust Trump, we can't trust this, we can't trust DeSantis. And I'm going to ask the people out here, the conservatives, that are saying all that stuff and worried about Trump, worried about this that he's doing or whatever, who? If not Trump, who? I mean, I'm just asking. I get texts all the time and say, well, I've just given up on Trump. I've thrown Trump under the bus. And of course, we've not done it here. I believe, as I've told you folks, there's two different things going on tonight. There's a political side to this. There's a spiritual side to this. And look, you know, ultimately, folks, God is the only one that can save this country. What's going on tonight at that border? We're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. Going to take your questions. You can go ahead and send those to McFiles forum if you'd like to at gmail.com tonight. I don't mind taking the faith questions, but this is more of a political show tonight. We're going to do a Q&A on a Monday night soon for spiritual questions. And but tonight I'm wanting to talk about the country. We talked with Ron Edwards this afternoon. We really didn't get to the border. Me and Ron are going to talk about that more Tuesday. Victor Avila will be with me Monday. I was going to have Victor on tonight, but I thought better of it. I didn't really came and talked to you lately. Just me to you and had some fun with you. And you ain't seen the I Was Never Here hat for a while. So I wanted to let you know it ain't been lost. I thought I'd lost it, left it at my brother's house. And my sister-in-law had it waiting for me this past week. She was giving me the weirdest look. It was like, you lost your hat. And she kept looking at it. And, you know, you lost your hat. So, anyway, I lost my hat. It's my Gilligan hat. Anyway, I was never here. I got this at the Spy Museum up in D.C. about 3-4 years ago when I went up there. I love that place. But anyway, I know I get hammered about this upcoming election, and people say, well, we can't trust Trump. We can't trust Trump. And then the other half I hear, we can't trust DeSantis. DeSantis is skull and bones. DeSantis is skull and bones. Can't trust him. I'm just asking, folks, for a friend tonight. Who? Who we can trust? Is there anybody out there that you can trust? I want you to look at me in the face and tell me that you're not going to vote. That's what some people are going to do. They're going to sit at home and not vote at all, which is basically a vote for the Dems. But I'm making a point in this tonight. I'm trying to make a point tonight. Anyway, Lisa Ramos says we can't trust anyone but McD. Hey, that's, you know something, that's exactly right, Ramos. Happy birthday to Lisa tonight, by the way. It was yesterday, day before. And by the way, before I forget it, before I was on tonight, right before I was on, I got a text from the Courtneys tonight. And I want to show you this, and this is you see this darling right here tonight? We've got a brand new McFiles member of the family tonight. That's Emily Courtney's brand new baby, Mary Ann. You see that precious darling right there? And we'll have a bigger picture. Let me turn it a little bit bigger because the light's sort of fading her out. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And that's Miss Emily Courtney's darling. And there's Miss Corbell, and there's Corbell with the baby. I think it's Wesleyan. It may be Wesleyan. But there's the little one with the baby. And then there's my Corbell with her right there. That's the other sister. And then there's Emily's husband. And Stephen, and we're grateful for the Courtney family tonight. Precious, congratulations. And she's got the same birthday as the one and only Ezra Leon McDonald has tonight. So it's such a blessed day today, and so we are grateful. Anyway, Jeff Fields. Jeff, I don't know what you're trying to say. He is speaking a different narrative similar to what Jesus was speaking to the local laws back then. Trust the truth. Okay, Jeff. I guess that's okay, but who are you going to vote for, Jeff? Who are you going to vote for? I'm curious, folks, who are you going to vote for out there? I hear all this rhetoric, folks, and I hear all this spiritual talk, and I've told you this, and I'm not trying to diminish that. We've got a political situation on our hands. We've got a spiritual situation on our hands. The two are somewhat connected, but in many ways, we're going to have some hard choices to make between now and next November. But Again, I got to ask you a question. If it's not Trump, who is it going to be? Who's it going to be? And if it's not DeSantis, who's it going to be? You going to vote for Mickey Mouse? You going to write in Donald Duck's name? You going to write in Barney Five's name? You going to write in Andy Griffin's name? No, you ain't going to do any of that. You better not. Some people out there will stupidly do that. But I'm just asking, folks. I'm just asking for a friend tonight. And I'm not trying to be sarcastic tonight. Well, I guess I am a little bit. It is Friday night. And this is my Friday night show. And good Lord have mercy. I get myself in the most trouble on these Friday night shows. So I'm going to might as well go ahead and get this over with tonight. But I'm just asking for a friend. I'm just asking for a friend. All right, now let's see what we got here. Jeannie says, my husband wants to know if I can get a shirt like yours. Well, Jeannie, I got this. I can't remember where I got this from. It may have been at a Cracker Barrel for all I know. I know I got it from somewhere. Check Cracker Barrel, Jeannie. I think that's where I got it from. It's a good one. And again, Grant Patillo says, once the American Empire ends, as it looks like it will sooner than later, will the church age end? The two are not tied together, Grant. Two have nothing to do with each other. We don't know when America's time will be up. We don't know when the church age's time will be up. They're absolutely unrelated. That's why we need to be praying for our nation. But our nation's existence does not change the plan of God. Our nation's existence does not change the plan of God. Now, where I was trying to go with what I was trying to say here, because I want to say happy birthday today, and to Courtney's darling. Ain't she just a darling? Just a precious baby, just unbelievable. We'll post some more pictures of her this weekend on Mother's Day. But I've got a precious darling that was born on the same day. She's going to have the same birthday as one of Ezra Leon McDonald. And he is a card. And my Aunt Sylvia, we posted one of his pictures, and she said he's got his mouth open. And she asked me, she said, is he going to be an Irish tenor? Well, I'm not sure about that, but if he takes after his grandpa, he's going to sing. I know that. And let's see here. Let me put some pictures up of him tonight, because he is my darling. And look at that face. That was him. Yes, that was him Tuesday. We were having a ball, and he was making some funny faces for his Pawpaw Mac. But this is my darling, and we always do the headbutt when we're together. And that's me and him right there. 2 years old today. Tried to FaceTime him today, but he got sleepy and went to bed before Grandpa Mac could get to him tonight. We'll get to him tomorrow. That's my darling. Happy birthday to Ezra Leon McDonald. Same birthday as Miss Mary Ann Courtney. Good day. Good day of history. 2 years apart. Emily, if you're out there tonight, hon, congratulations to you and Shane. God bless you guys. And happy entrance into this world, Mary Ann Courtney. But happy birthday to my dear Ezra tonight and so forth. All right, now, let me get back to my thought. Folks, let me just give you some good sound advice. Stop listening to this nonsense and all of this Q stuff and all of this conspiracy and all this stuff that's out there. Look, nobody, be it Trump, DeSantis, or anybody else, is going to be perfect. Nobody. The question I got for these people that say stuff like, well, we can't trust Trump no more. I've given up on Trump. I've stopped not going to vote for Trump. And then they'll turn right around and I'll say, well, okay, what about DeSantis? Well, I can't trust him either. And then when you ask them, well, who are you going to vote for? They can't tell you. They can't tell you. Sitting on our backsides and not voting is a surefire bet to have 4 more years of what you got going on tonight. Don't think for a second that the other side is going to sit on their backsides. They're not. They're busy tonight. They're busy tonight tearing your country to pieces. They're busy tonight tearing this country inside out from within. They're busy tonight teaching transgenderism to your kids. They're busy tonight teaching homosexuality and lesbianism is normal. They're busy tonight. Cleo was talking about this in the early show. Jennifer, by the way, Jennifer Morris, was she good or not what tonight, folks? Put some fire in that house for her tonight. Goodness gracious, what a show we had at 7 o'clock tonight. But Jennifer was talking about this, and Cleo brought up a situation in Washington where there's a law on the books. There are laws in certain states that if you as a parent don't agree to your child's gender mutilation, they take your kids from you. That's happening right here in the good old US of A. So you sit on your backside, okay? You sit on your backside and you twiddle your thumbs and you worry and be scared of your shadow and say, well, I'm not going to vote for anybody. I'll just sit at home and won't vote. I tell you what, you do that. You do that, and let me guarantee you this, folks. I guarantee this is just as sure as the hat says I was never here on my hat. You are going to get 4 more years of this onslaught of hell that you've got tonight, including a border that is being overrun by not a few hundred, but thousands, tens of thousands of people tonight. And the government does not know what to do. You had Mayorkas out there today basically saying that they've got no answer for this. Biden is saying he's got no answer for this. John Pierre, whatever her name is, has got no answer for this. They're even lying about it tonight, claiming there's absolutely no illegals crossing the border in this mad rush. And folks, you'd have to suspend not only reality, but you just plain have to be mentally something. And I hate to use that word, but you just have to plain be mentally blank if you believe that there's not illegals coming across this border tonight, folks. Tens of thousands. Victor Avila is down there. He's seeing it firsthand. Maria Miller last night, she lives in that area of the country. She's seeing it firsthand. Texas, you folks in Texas, you're going to need bodyguards for the next few months because of the stuff that's coming across the border. So I ask you a question again tonight. Do you want 4 more years of this? And if you do, then I tell you what, you take your Q toys and you take your talk and you take your thinking about who you think would be more qualified. And then I hear, then there's General Flynn. You know, people say, we'll vote for Flynn. Flynn ain't got a prayer. Flynn ain't got a prayer. I don't mean to bust your bubble, but Flynn ain't got a prayer. I ain't voting for Flynn. Don't trust him. Don't trust DeSantis. I'm not saying that Trump's perfect, but I tell you what, at the end of the day, my chips are going to fall on Trump. Now, I may live to regret that, but I have to tell you, can't be no worse than what it was before. Now, I got a few things to say about Trump. What bothers me with President Trump tonight is the same thing that made us vote for him in 2016 and 2020. He's an outsider. He's somewhat naive sometimes. I don't think he's going to be as naive this time around as he was the first time. But he cannot continue, folks, to surround himself with people that are giving him some of the most horrible advice. The smartest thing that President Trump actually did in 2 years was go on CNN the other night. Did you hear about this? This happened just a few nights ago. I was at a car dealership today, and even the car dealership, who don't watch our show regularly, but he knows what I do as a podcaster, he walks out to me, shakes my hand. He said, did you see Trump on CNN last night? He said, I bet you were watching it. And I said, yeah, I didn't see all of it, but I heard about it. And we got talking about it. And he's sort of middle of the road. He's not a liberal, not a conservative. He's sort of middle of the road. And he told me, he said, it was genius. It was genius. He said he made them look so bad. He made CNN look like a bunch of idiots, and he did. And it was smart. Conventional wisdom would have told Trump to stay away from CNN. But he went into the lion's den, and that's what I respect about him. He never backs down. And he's got that gravitas about him. The only thing I'm concerned about Trump is very simply this. The advice that he's getting from people that he trusts, that he shouldn't trust. If 2020 taught him any lesson, if 2016 through 2020 taught him any lesson, the first time he was in office, he should know that you can't trust a soul in D.C. Nobody. Republican, Democrat, Independent. I don't care if they call themselves a Christian or not, neighbor. I wouldn't be trusting a soul. I believe President Trump is a young Christian. I understand that. I understand he's not going to know everything about everything. I don't expect him to. I'm not electing a pastor of this country. We don't need a pastor of this country. The church needs to be being the spiritual voice of the nation, not the president. We elect a president to run the country financially responsible, to protect us from enemies, foreign and domestic, to uphold the Constitution, to serve as the budget, because the budget for the country comes from the president, not Congress, but the president sets the budget, the Congress votes on the budget. He sets that budget, and that's why we expect him to be physically responsible, not what we've got tonight. We expect the president to be our commander-in-chief, not our pastor-in-chief. He's the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He don't get us into useless wars. He don't start poking the bear of Russia. He don't poke the bear of Ukraine. He don't send trillions of dollars to the Ukraine in a useless fake war. He don't try to prod Russia into World War III so we can get the war machine going again. Folks, these warmongers, I'm going to tell you something, they have been salivating. It's what ticked them off with Trump. Trump would not bring us into conflict. They begged him. They wanted him. That's part of why they went after him with Russia. They tried to indict him twice, impeach him twice. He stopped these useless wars. He stopped these things that these neocons were doing. And Bush and all this bunch and Cheney and all of them. All of them. These Dems salivate at this stuff. They love this stuff. The Republicans salivate at it. They want bloodshed. They want a sacrifice. They want the blood to spill. They want the blood of your boys and girls to spill on this land. And he wouldn't buy it. And they're salivating at it. But when we have a president, we elect a president that will be the commander-in-chief. Another thing that we elect a president to do, and that's to protect the unborn. Let me tell you this, neighbor, if a president will not protect the most innocent among us, he will not protect you. So when Joe Biden is basically funneling millions of dollars to pro-abortion clinics and pro-abortion Planned Parenthood clinics and overseas abortions and things like that and killing the babies without measure, without conscience, if he can't protect the babies, he will never protect you. I expect my president to protect the babies. I expect my president to protect the children. I expect my president not to be caught up in a Q nonsense and not to be caught up in stuff that don't matter to a hill of beans, but run the country. Run the country. I expect my president to support Israel. I know Israel's not perfect, but I believe if when America blesses Israel, America will be blessed. I expect the president to help the church be as free as it can, to preach the gospel, to be as free an institution as we can be. Let me tell you this, folks. I know some of you don't want to hear this. We have freedom of religion in this country. The freedom of religion goes both ways. We as Christians are free to worship God, but whether you like it or not, we as Christians cannot infringe our religious preference to worship our God, who is the true God of heaven, okay, on anybody that's in this nation. What has happened, it's been reversed. The false religions of this country, okay, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, Satanism, and God knows, I don't even know what some of this religious activity is. Atheism, I guess you could call it, this agnosticism where people don't believe in anything. What they've done, they have tried to enforce their will and their religion on Christians. I expect my president to protect all religions. He himself, his personal conviction, I pray is Christian. I pray he knows the God of heaven. And if he truly knows the God of heaven, I believe he will act righteously and he will do those kind of things. I've said this to you before, folks, tonight. And this is why I'm here on this Friday night, to unload some things that's been eating away at me for a few weeks. I ain't even got to the King Charles nonsense, but I'll get to that a little bit tonight, Monday night. And how to win friends and influence people is not going to be the motto of this show. I can tell you that, because we ain't been having a lot of friends lately. We've had most of the friends we thought we had gone. And but I'm going to tell you this about a president. When a president runs the country righteously, folks, a wicked people will always revolt against that. When a wicked president runs the nation, the righteous mourn. There's a verse. I know Cleo's out there somewhere tonight, and there's a verse in Proverbs. When the righteous rule, the people are glad. When wickedness, when the wicked rule, the people mourn. A righteous president will always face great opposition from a wicked society. America, folks, is wicked. Our sin is reaching heaven in proportions that would scare us all to know how close we are to complete annihilation. The only people that are protecting America tonight, the only thing, the only power that is keeping us from that are people like many of you watching this show tonight out there in that audience that are born-again Christians, born-again children of God that know how to pray. You may think that time that you get down on your knees in the morning for 5 minutes and you say, Lord, in the name of Jesus, I pray for my country. I pray that your hand of judgment is stayed. I pray for mercy for our country. You may not think that prayer means a lot. Let me tell you something right now. It means it's worth more than $10 million. You better pray that, and you probably need to pray more than 5 minutes asking God to do that. Because, folks, that's the only thing keeping us from judgment, full-fledged judgment. And I would argue with you a little bit tonight that some of the things that are going on, like this border, and you start reading Deuteronomy 28, and you look at the curse and the blessing. I don't think we've ever done a message, and I think we're going to do one soon, on the blessing side of things and the cursing side of things, the blessing and the curse. There are certain things that will happen when a nation's blessed. There are certain things that happen when a nation's cursed. One of the curses of Deuteronomy 28 is your enemies will overrun you. You will not pursue your enemies. The enemy will pursue you. When you're blessed, you will overrun your enemies. And let me tell you something tonight, folks. It don't take a genius. It don't take a theologian. It don't take a spiritual genius to look at our southern border tonight, and I can tell you that our enemies are overrunning us. That lets me know that America is under a curse. Now, I know your Q buddies out there are telling you that America's promised land. They're telling you that the way America gets out of this is we just haul all the evil people together. We just jail all the evil folks and we put them in Gitmo and we'll lock up Soros and we'll lock up Zuckerberg and we'll lock up Obama and we'll lock up Dick Cheney, we'll lock up Bush, we'll lock up Hillary, we'll lock up this one and we'll lock up that one, we'll lock up that one, put them in bars, and we've got a utopia ahead if we'll do all that. Chris is not in a good mood about this Q stuff, folks. I have to tell you something. I believe it's been one of the worst Trojan horses the church has ever faced among it. It's destroyed the church from within. It has caused people to sit on their candy ARSSs, and they have sit there and done nothing, being told they're watching a movie. You've got people out there claiming Biden's a clone, Obama's a clone, Hillary's a clone, Bill's a clone, George is a clone, or Charles is a clone. Folks, you have to be on spiritual meth to believe such nonsense. But you got people doing it. You got people believing it. I read something this morning that these people, folks, they have lost their cotton-picking minds. It has paralyzed us from doing our God-ordained duty to protect freedom and to protect the thing that He's given us. We are stewards over this freedom. And if we don't protect it, folks, the next generation will not have it. And once it is lost, it will be gone forever. I cannot stress that enough tonight. We sit here and watch this onslaught of hell hit our country. Jennifer Roback Moore said some of the most chilling things that are going on with your children and my children tonight. My grandchildren are facing this. And instead of us concentrating on our nation and our spiritual condition and our political condition, no, we're more worried about whether Charles is real or not. Or whether the 3 feathers of an ostrich are 666. Let me tell you something, folks. It's time to shake free of this nonsense and this mess. And we're not going to do it. I hate to say it, we're not going to do it. 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 We are not going to do it. Anyway, all right. You got a question for me? McFiles Forum. Listen to me. It's time that we either cut bait or we get serious about our nation. The only thing that's keeping this nation, folks, from total destruction is us. Our prayers and our intercession. That's the only thing. And I'm not so sure if our sin ain't reached God to the point that, you know, he finally told Amos, if you read the book of Amos, Amos is a very troubling book because Amos was as close to God as any prophet could be, and God called Amos by name. He didn't call many prophets by name, but he called Amos by name. And Amos went before the Lord 3 times for Israel. 2 times God gave Israel mercy simply because of what Amos prayed. The 3rd time when Amos came to God, the Lord literally told Amos, he said, please stop asking. He said, they have gone to a point, I'm not going to change my mind now. And that shows you both the power of intercession but the sovereignty of God. And when we listen to these things out there and get caught up in all of this foolishness that we're caught up in tonight, we're basically insulting the intelligence of God. We're insulting the Creator. We are insulting the blood that has been shed for this country. We are insulting the blood that was shed on that cross 2,000 years ago. We are insulting the very fact that this nation was founded on blood. It was founded by God's grace. America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. We insult that price when we sit on our backsides and say we're just watching a movie. There's nothing more insulting. It insults me. It is just in mind-blowing madness to watch this stuff go on. And again, I guess I've just come on this thing to ask you tonight, folks. There's no perfect solution here. But you better start making a call on who you're going to get behind and get behind them with everything in you. I don't know what's going to be happening a year and 4 months from now. We only got about a year and 6 months actually till the election. We got basically a year and a half now. That's an eternity. That's an eternity. 1,000,001 things can take place between now and next November. There are no guarantees of who's going to be in that ballot box and who ain't. Folks, we don't know what's going to happen. But I cannot stress this enough tonight. And you know me, on this Friday night, I get a little fired up, and I'm a little fired under the collar tonight. And I'm going to deal with this stuff directly. I'm at a point that I've kept my mouth shut. I've watched it. It's probably a good thing I've been on the road a little bit. I've not really had a chance to get on here because I probably would have, that counter that's going down by the day would probably be going like this instead of like this. It'd probably going down like this because the things I've got to say about it are not good. And this morning, I guess it was just the mercy of God. Because I was having one of those mornings. I was fired up for tonight. And I do a daily reading in the Psalms and a daily reading in Proverbs. That's what I've been doing for the last 6 months. And my psalm of the day was, he that refraineth his lips is wise. I started laughing. I felt the presence of God on my laughter. And I said, Lord, I know you're speaking that to me. He that refraineth his lips. I said, but Lord, it's just the McFiles. Please. And I'm trying to refrain my lips from what I want to say, folks. But I'm telling you tonight, folks, you better come to grips with this. There's no Calvary coming to save this country. You are the Calvary. You are the Calvary. And the people of God, the very people that this country mocks, the very people this government hates, the very people that those reporters and this news media mocks and laughs at and spurns and says all the vile things about they want to. They may say what they want to about us, but deep down in their heart, when this thing goes bad, like I think it's about to go bad, we're the ones they're coming after. And we're the ones they're coming after to pray. They know. They may spurn us under their breath, but they know deep down inside where the strength of this country is. A few do. Some don't, but a few do. All right, now, let me take a few questions. I'm going to get you out of here. I'm not going to keep you till midnight. I'll put my amen myself. I'll amen myself. Put some fire in that house. Put some fire in that house. A couple of headlines tonight. Let's see here. This is breaking tonight. I'll go ahead and put this in the chat room a little bit tonight. If you'll go to the McFiles.org, you will see some of these articles. Let me put this up on the screen. Screen's going to go black here just for a second. I promise you we've not gone nowhere. But I'm going to put this up here. This is off of Breitbart tonight. A judge has blocked Biden's post-Title 42 catch and release policy. This is off of Breitbart. This just came in earlier tonight at 10:18, just a few minutes ago. A federal judge blocked a new catch and release policy announced by Joe Biden's border deputies shortly before they lifted the Title 42 border barrier at midnight. The temporary restraining order was signed by federal judge T. Kent Weatherall of the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Florida after a request by Florida's Attorney General Ashley Moody. It will last up to 14 days. It says basically that they are enjoined from implementing or enforcing the parole policy contained in the May 10, 2023 memorandum from the Border Chief Raul Ortiz titled Policy on Parole. And basically what that means, folks, and it's what Biden and them were saying today, that anybody that they get, that they catch now that is illegal, thanks to this Title 42 being lifted. And for those of you that was with us with Maria last night, I'll explain it to you. For those that were not, I'll explain it this way. Trump, to his credit, if he did a lot of good things, but I think the border, Israel, and abortion were the three greatest things in the economy, the four things that he did the best. But he basically implemented a policy by executive order that said that illegal aliens could not come into this country until they got their paperwork right. And they had to stay in their natural country. They couldn't come over here illegally without papers. Because if they did, they would be considered illegal, and the Border Patrol had a right to arrest them. And if you heard me and Maria last night, we were getting fired up about this because the media, all they want to talk about is the inhumane conditions at the border facilities. And my statement last night is the same as mine tonight. You don't like the border facilities? Well, keep your backside on your side of the fence and keep yourself in the home nation that you're coming from. You won't have to worry about our border facilities. You won't have to worry about the detention Holiday Inn. No, you don't. We don't owe you a Holiday Inn or the Hampton Inn or the Best Western. We're not here to provide you a vacation from your hellhole that you're coming from. This is not our job. That's not our job. It's never been our job. That's the other thing a good president does. He protects the border. He protects the sovereignty of his nation, and he protects the laws of his nation, and he upholds the Constitution of his nation, which basically, the law basically says you are illegal if you're not a U.S. citizen with papers or born here. And Maria pointed out something last night, folks. I hope you caught it. It's scary. A lot of these hearings, and this is what they're doing, this is on purpose. It's just like the lady that was doing her eyelashes and making a flippant joke about the fact that, she was here illegally, didn't care that she was waiting on her husband to come across on this Title 42 lift tonight. And her hearing is not till August of 2027. Okay? 4 years almost. 4 years. And they're a young couple. If they have a child while here, they don't have to leave. That makes them ineligible to be deported. And that is what their ultimate goal is. And that is going to change the dynamics of this country in a way that we've never seen. So, the judge has said temporarily they cannot just catch him and release him. They've got to process him. That's for 14 days. Folks, you need to pray that this stays in place. It's a slither of hope. It ain't going to solve anything. It's a slither of hope. That's all I can say. So, that's where we're at tonight. Other thing that is happening tonight, and it's all in the Telegram room at the McFiles.org. I don't know if you heard about this today, but I'm trying to find that story. There was a young girl that died, a migrant child died in U.S. custody after they expire. They allowed Title 42 to expire. Biden had attacked Trump for migrants being killed, trying to get back across the border and so forth, and all. I wished I'd had time to put some pictures up from my trip down there, but basically the federal agents blocked reporters trying to document illegal aliens being boarded on the buses at the El Paso, Texas border with Mexico early this morning. That's where Victor Avila is. He'll be here Monday evening around 7 to show you some of those pictures and talk about his eyewitness account of that. I wish we'd had him on tonight, but it was just a little bit too much to do all this today. But they told reporters they were protecting the privacy of the illegal alien invaders. And again, there was rumors out that a migrant child, died while in U.S. custody just hours after it expired. That was according to the Department of HHS. And they're withholding the details of that deceased child. And we'll put this up, and I'll show you this story right here. But it's going to be like this on steroids, folks. You're going to hear more stories of this in the days to come. The media is going to make sure you do. And I'll put this up. All of this is on our website at the McFiles.org. If you go to the Telegram room, please go there, and you will see it there, and so forth. If that's going to work, please work. It's not going to work. Well, shoot. Let me try this again. All right, let's try this again. Yep, there we go, finally. Second time's a charm. There's the story right there. Well, I thought it was going to work, and then it went blank on me again. Oh, well. You can find it on the page. Let me come back over here. Such as computer technology. Sometimes these applets work, sometimes they don't. But you can find the story about the kid dying on our website at the McFiles.org. Go to our website or Telegram room, and that will be there. James R., my dear buddy, tweeted out last night something that Maria talked about the Mexican president, that he's siding with the cartels. He's basically telling and signaling that he's backing the cartels in this war about whether America lets people in and whether they don't. And he's basically saying, blank you, America. I'm with the cartels, and what their campaign of death is against your people, we don't care down here. And they don't. And folks, these are the things that are facing us for the next 18 months until we get to November. So, I'm saying all this for a fundamental reason tonight. If not Trump, who? Who can fix this? And please, I know that all you out there are saying, well, King Jesus can fix it. King Jesus is not back here tonight. He's in heaven. He can help us. The Lord can help us. There's no doubt about it. He can help us. But God works through people. God has always worked through leaders. He has always worked through Israel's kings during Israel's history. He's going to work through our presidents if they will allow him to. If not Trump, who? I don't dislike Ron DeSantis. It has nothing to do with my dislike or like for Ron DeSantis. But I don't think Ron can fix this. I don't think he's ready for this thing. I think the best thing for him to do is sit 2024 out, get ready for 2028. He'll have my full backing in 2028 because if Trump gets back in, he's lame duck for 4 years. So take this time to get ready for 2028. That's my opinion. And I think most of the, from what I could see a while ago, we didn't have one DeSantis person. But I ask you a question again tonight, folks. If not Donald Trump, who do you think would fix this? I don't know if anybody else can. Nikki Haley sure can't. Tim Scott sure can't. Chris Christie sure can't. Ron DeSantis sure can't. Ain't none of them can. The interesting thing that's going on tonight, I know you're going to pause when I say this, and this is the nutty thing about politics in this country. Don't underestimate Robert Kennedy Jr. on the Democratic side tonight. I don't like Robert Kennedy personally. I've never been caught up in the Camelot worship of the Kennedys. They're just a family just like I am. They put their pants on just like I do. But he stood firm in the face of this coconut cake. And he stood firm in the face of his party pushing that on the country. And I think a lot of moderate Dems are going to look at him very seriously for that nomination. It's not a given that Joe Biden's going to get the nomination on the Dem side. My friend today at the dealership, again, somebody that's right in the middle. He's not right or left. He's right in the middle. He told me that today. He said, I believe what happened with Trump at CNN was that a lot of these moderate Democrats who would have never voted for Trump in 2020 and didn't vote for Trump, they're going to give it a second thought. But Robert Kennedy Jr. is a wild card. I'm not extolling Robert Kennedy Jr., but I'm just saying, keep an eye on him. 18 months in politics is a long time. Now, that's my rant. By the way, before I forget it, to the Georgia Bulldogs out there tonight, thank you. Thank you. They didn't go to the White House. Now, Kirby Smart, Kirby's from Bainbridge. I grew up in Bainbridge. I went 2 years to Bainbridge High, 2 years to Cairo High School. Kirby and I went to the same high school, just different times. He was about 9 years behind me. He was a 92 grad. I was an 83 grad. But Kirby and his dogs did not want to go to the White House. Now, he says it wasn't political. I'll take his word for it. But we Georgia fans, we had to smile a little bit that they didn't want to go celebrate their back-to-back national championships. Kirby, salute from a fellow Bearcat tonight. You made the right call. You made the right call. And I hope you don't go, to be honest with you. All right, a few other questions. Let me see what kind of questions we got. Well, we just got one question. Are you serious? Just one question. Reasonable Trump voting argument. Joe, I'm not sure what your argument is. I don't have time to read the whole paragraph. Joe, let me just say this about the argument for voting for Trump. Look at your country, man. Tonight. Look at the country tonight. That's the only reasonable argument I can put out there, buddy. No offense to you, Joe. It don't take a genius to see the country's in a complete mess. That's my argument for voting for Trump. I don't care about the other stuff. We can argue semantics all we want to. Folks, look at your country. Look at your country tonight. That's the argument for voting for Trump. And I ask you a question, Joe, that's not directed at you. This is directed at the audience. Who in the world can stand up to this onslaught other than Trump? And if you can come up with a legitimate, reasonable answer to that question, then we'll discuss that. But until anybody does, my money is on him. My prayers are with him. My hope is not in him, but my vote is with him. My hope is in heaven. But my vote is for Trump. That's the argument, Joe. That's the argument. That's the argument. Troy Apple says, I know that my vote counts when all those... Troy, I can't understand your email. But anyway, he says, you can count on me. Can I count on you? Well, Troy, I'm screaming to the top of my lungs tonight. Of course you can count on me. Telling everybody to go vote. Anyway. And let's see here. A couple of other questions tonight. I am getting all sorts of weird stuff. Weird stuff. That's all the questions I got tonight. That's all I've got tonight. Usually I've bombarded with a lot of weird questions, so I didn't even get the weird questions tonight. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn to the chat room. And folks, you say I can't even access forum. It's McFilesforum@gmail.com. Jason Miller says Trump's worst day is better than Biden's best day. I'll amen that. I'll amen that. I'll amen that. Janice says I was enamored with RFK Jr.'s interview on Gateway Pundit. I'm not enamored with him, Janice, but I think that he's worth. And Donna, you say he's a Trojan horse? Of course he's a Trojan horse, Donna. But Donna, let me ask you a question. I know you're not going to vote Democrat. Can you look me in the face and tell me that he's any worse than the Trojan horse that's in the White House tonight? No. I mean, seriously. He will draw moderate Dems. I love it when people say he's a Trojan horse. Of course he's... Folks. It's amazing that... Don, I'm not taking issue with you. I got to be careful. He that refraineth his lips is wise. I'm going to refrain my lips. Of course he's a Trojan horse, Donna. But again, can he be any worse than what the Dems have in office tonight? Nope. Sure ain't. Sure can't. Julia Carter, Trump has stood strong through all they've put him through. He's got my vote. He's got my vote too. He's got my vote too. McFilesforum@gmail. Real quick. McFilesforum@gmail.com. RFK Jr. is pro-choice. However, he will shake up the moderate Dems to leave Biden and Harris. Cleo, thank you. That's the point. That's really the point I'm trying to make. I'm trying to make that point. He's going to shake up the Democratic Party. And let me give you something. I know it's never going to happen. But what would happen if Donald Trump went against conventional wisdom, turned to RFK Jr. and said, RFK, if you don't win that primary, come over to me and we'll run a ticket together. I'm not saying I'd be happy about that, but don't put it past anything right now. Folks, 18 months is an eternity. I've been around politics a long time. I ran a campaign up here. I've watched the inside out of this political machine. Stuff happens. Crazy deals are made. There's no telling what's about to happen in the next 18 months. In this crazy, toxic world, nothing would surprise me. And it shouldn't surprise you. But that's a good point. Well, Mary, he says he won't do it. I bet you RFK probably says he won't do it. They say they won't do it a lot. But anyway. And Susan, no, he'd be one step from the presidency. Susan, did I just say it was a good idea? I didn't say it was a good idea. I just said the point is that it's possible. That's possible. And all you folks saying, well, he's saying he won't join the Trump ticket. Okay, whatever. They say a lot of things. And all three of you have told me that he said that. All right, guys. He said he won't do it. All right. I'm throwing that out there, folks. Thank you for correcting me. But I'll sit back and I'll tell you, don't put it past the world of politics as we know it in this country, folks. Don't think it crazy if it does. Politics makes strange bedfellows, Robin Hutchinson. Bingo! 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 They make strange bedfellows. They sure do. And Bear, thank you for what you just said. Y'all was never thought we would be in this state of 2023. Anything and everything is happening. That is exactly right. That is exactly right. Jason Miller says Donald Trump's best friend was his nephew, JFK Jr. And that's exactly right, too. Julia, it's already divided between Trump and DeSantis. I hate to tell you, that's already happened. That's already happened. That's already to happen. That's already happened. Folks, again, all you folks out there, can you look at me in the face and tell me that that RFK Jr., look, I don't want RFK Jr. to be president no more than any of you do. I'm voting for Trump. I'm voting for him. Right here. You see that? I don't know how many times I got to say that. TRUMP. I'm not extolling RFK Jr. But if I'm a Democrat tonight, which I'm not, you got to look at what you got at the top of your ticket right now. And you have to be honestly, if you got a brain, look at the seriousness of what's going on, folks. I think he makes a daggum interesting alternative for the Dems. And then it would be a Trump-Kennedy war. It would be a Trump-Kennedy match in November. And so forth. It's interesting. As I said, anything could happen. Anything could happen. Anything could happen. All righty. I've got a few more minutes. I'm going to go here. I've got another 10 minutes. I'm looking for the comments. Susan says he could be in 45's cabinet. Well, he could be. He could be. Could be a lot of things. Could be a lot of things. Let me go over here to Facebook tonight. I haven't said a lot to the Facebook audience tonight. Good to see you guys. I don't like Jim Jordan for VP. Dennis says, who's my pick for VP? I'm sort of mixed, Dennis. I don't know. We got Magdalene Rose. She believes he should pick DeSantis. I don't think DeSantis is going to do. I don't think DeSantis is going to take the VP. I think he's all in either way. He's going to be all in or nothing. I think it's Trump's call. I don't think it should be Kerry Lake. I'm not a big Kerry Lake fan. Hate to tell you guys, I'm not. I think some people have said the girl up in North Dakota, South Dakota, Noam, Christy Noam, she's got her own issues. I don't know. Right now, that's a hard question to ask. Ask me that question, Dennis, and give me about 6 months. Ask me again at the end of the year. I'll have a better feel of who I would want. Lisa, Ted Cruz, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Backstabber. He's a politician. He's worse of a politician than DeSantis is. Absolutely not. Hell would freeze over before I'd ever put Ted Cruz on a ticket. I wouldn't put Ted Cruz on a ticket. Jim Jordan, possibly. I said, when whoever put that Jim Jordan comment in Facebook, I didn't mean to sound so caustic about it, honestly, because Jim Jordan would not be a bad choice, honestly. And thank you for telling somebody not to be putting unsubstantial items in the chat. You know better. Trump will clean this mess with God on his side. Phyllis, can I tell you something tonight? And I love you. And don't take this the wrong way, but listen to me. Folks, that's our problem. We think God's taking sides in this. God does not take sides, folks. God has never taken sides. And I'm going to give you something to ponder tonight. Moses, when he was calling Israel to him, when he went down and saw that golden calf, you remember that? He didn't look up to Israel and say, God's on your side, and God's on your side. No, he asked Israel this. Who is on the Lord's side? When Joshua was getting ready to go in that promised land, and he looked up as they were getting ready to go in, he saw that angel with that sword drawn. And Joshua walks up to the angel and he said, are you for us or against us? He knew it was from an angel from God, and that angel looked at Joshua point blank and didn't blink an eye. He was really an Old Testament appearance of Christ. He said, I'm not here for either one of you. God don't take sides, Phyllis. The question is not whether God is on our side. The question is, are we on his? And I'm going to tell you something. I love President Trump. I don't worship President Trump. I'm never going to worship President Trump like we did before. I think we all bit an apple out of this bag. The question is not whether God is on his side, it's whether Trump's going to be on God's side. And that goes for any of these guys. That's the bigger question. So Trump can't clean this mess up, Phyllis. Your premise, I'm not taking issue with you, but I'm addressing comments in the chat tonight. It's not whether God is on our side or not, folks. You can't look at me in the face, any of you out here, and tell me that God can be on this nation's side right now with where we're at. In any shape, form, or fashion, the right or the left. And that's where this Q gospel gets its strength from, because that's what the Q gospel pushes, that God is on the Q side. That these people that believe this Q stuff, he's on our side and he's against all these other people. Nuh-uh. It's whether we're on his side. And we better get on his side. We better stop worrying about that. I'll amen myself tonight. Byron Donald, nope. Ask me in 6 months. Ask me in 6 months about the... Anyway. I don't think John Jr. is going to be his running mate, Mary. No. And again, this idea that Trump could change RFK's theology, he ain't going to do it. He ain't going to do it. And folks, these are, I understand. I think the best thing to do is just wait and see. I'm really, at this point, I haven't even thought about his number 2. I think Trump's not even come close to a decision on that just yet. I think that's going to take place next year. I think that he's waiting to see what happens and plays out. I know that there are certain parts of the country tonight, certain parts of the movement, that believe DeSantis can unite the party. He can't. He cannot do it. He cannot do it. He cannot do it. All right. Any more questions? Brian Donaldson, Linda, nope. Nope. Corey, is Pence really running for president? I don't know. I heard that. I heard that he was, but I don't know that for sure. I'll put it like this to you. Pence ain't gonna win 10 votes. Pence messed, he's done. He's done politically. I may be wrong. I know that one of the big prophets, I don't want to name names tonight, but that's the latest flavor now, that Pence is the one that God's told these prophets now is going to win. A lot of them were telling us that Trump would be back in office by now 3 times over. Every July 4th, there's a guy in my state whose last name is a holiday. He was telling everybody July 4th of 2021, 2022. I don't know what he's saying about this year, but the last 2 years, he's promised his people without a shadow of a doubt that God told him that Trump would be in the White House by July 4th. It went and passed, and nothing was said to say I was wrong. He still holds on to that mess. But that's not as stupid as the other one with a last name of a color saying that Prince Charles would not see the throne of England, and he got not inaugurated this past weekend. Magdalene's got some thoughts on that. This kid, I love Magdalene Rose. She's coming to be on a show with us Monday afternoon on a Rose Report. I could tell from yesterday she's a little wired up too. It's going to be a wired up week on the McFiles. We're going to finish up in 5 minutes. But she had some thoughts about Charles, and I can't wait to hear them. But you know what this prophetess did? You know what she said when all this went south? And even her own supporters started questioning her about it. He's just a clone. You're just watching a movie. This ain't real. I never said he wasn't going to get in office, and he's right there in black and white. We're going to talk about this Monday night. Anyway. Stupidity. Imbeciles. And Amy, they never say they're wrong. That's right. Pence gave the sermon at a mega church 2 weeks ago. Well, that should tell you everything. Robin Hutchinson says so many of these politicians run not with expectations of winning, but to garner more funding for themselves. That's a big deal. That is an absolute truth. That's absolute truth. They never say they're wrong, Amy. That's true. That is true. That is true. All right, a few more comments here. Jeff says, my eyes are opened now. Chris is flipped. He boasted about something with Mark Taylor. Now he calls it a gospel nonsense. Jeff, let me tell you something. Since you've come on my show and been rude tonight, let me tell you something. Chris never boasted about Q with anybody. My guess, there have been guests that have said that they believe in that. I was basically cornered in Salem about this very thing, and I will tell you this tonight, folks. Chris has never embraced Q. Let me make it clear to you tonight. Chris has never embraced Q. Jeff, you're being rude tonight. It's not a good night to be rude with the Mac. Man, this is a Friday night, lights out place. Jeff, I've watched you in the chat all night, and I've watched you say certain things, and I've let you pass. It's time for you to say goodnight now and go back to your abyss of hate. No, it is nonsense. It's nonsense. So your eyes being open, Jeff, I hope they are open. Because Chris has never embraced Q. I've had guests on this show that have, but I don't have to agree with my guests to have them on my show. There's a lot of things I've had guests on in 6 years. I can guarantee you we've had close to 5,000 shows over 6 years. Do you realize that? Maybe not quite that many. We've had, let's see, well, I take that back. We've averaged about 600 shows a year. So 600 by 6, that's 3,600. So we have had at least 3,500 shows. So Jeff, out of 3,500 shows and probably as many guests, let me tell you something. Jeff, a moron would not sit here and tell you that I agree with every jot and tittle that every single guest said. But Jeff, because you want to be hateful tonight, and that's what you're being, you say, well, my eyes have been opened, and Chris used to embrace the Q nonsense with somebody. No, I didn't. I never embraced it. Folks, the people that have come on this show are welcome to believe what they want to believe. Don't mean I have to believe it. I may not agree with it. I may love them, but I don't have to agree with what they say. There's a lot of things I've heard some of my guests say that I don't believe. And the criteria for them being back on this show, whether they're not back on this show, is whether I believe that that's reached a level that it's harming you. Because Chris is a caretaker of the McFiles. And ultimately, this is my show. So, Jeff, since your eyes have been opened, I wish you the best, friend. I'm not even going to be ugly to you. Like you were rude in my chat tonight, I'm not going to be rude to you. I'm going to wish you blessing. And I pray for you, Jeff. Because, Jeff, let me tell you something. If you want to embrace the Q stuff, enjoy it. And keep smoking the weed, baby. Keep smoking the weed. I hope it tastes good to you. Chris ain't smoking the weed. I never have. I don't either. And you're gone, Jeff. But somebody please take care of Jeff in the Facebook chat room, please. Thank you. Anyway. No respect. Jamie said it. Chris has never agreed with Q. Exactly right. Cleo, I don't want his comments removed. I want him removed. That was very, very rude. Lisa Sander for Huckabee. Sarah Huckabee for VP. I wouldn't mind Sarah being Vice President, Lisa. That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. Yep, Donna, that's what they believe. Everybody is a clone. Everybody is a clone. That's coming from the Q folks, by the way, Donna. That's the Q gospel. And folks, let me say this about the Q stuff before I leave tonight, because I know it's been a McFiles fired up friend. Jeff, if you don't respect me, Jeff, you know, buddy, it's all right. I'm not upset with you. I love you, man. You're the one that came into my show being rude tonight. That's ugly. You don't do stuff like that. You don't agree with something, take it up with me privately. But to put it out there in the public like that, Jeff, if you don't respect me, why you here? Why you here? But we wish you nothing but blessings, Jeff. Blessings and grace. And if you want to smoke the Q weeds, keep smoking it. And enjoy it. Enjoy it. There's a lot of you out there that's smoking it. But, Donna, your comment about the clones, that's coming from that camp. Because everybody's a clone. Everybody's a clone. Maybe probably somebody says I'm a clone. Let me make sure. Yep. No, I feel that. I'm not a clone. I promise I'm not a clone. Just never here. I was not here tonight. But let me say this about the Q folks. Folks, I don't hold animosity to those that believe in Q. From day one, I've always said on this show 2 things about Q. And you better listen to me again tonight, because people like Jeff have never listened and heard what I've really said about Q. I have always preached respect on both sides. I've told the Q followers, respect those that don't believe in it. I've told the non-Q posters and the non-Q followers to respect those that do. That we may not agree on whatever that is at this point. I don't even know what it is at this point. But to be respectful to each other, unlike what you have been tonight, Jeff. I've always taught that. I've never said I agreed with Q. Never said it. Never promoted it on this show. As again, I've had guests on here that they believe some of the stuff, and some of the stuff that was being promoted, we all hoped probably was right. We hoped that some of these people would find justice, but folks, that's not. It should have clicked in at some point that none of this stuff was happening. None of this stuff was right. None of this stuff was actually true. None of this was actually going on. Folks, I saw a Q post just the other day of a lady. I'm not joking. I'm going to show it to you Monday night. She had a picture. I'm not joking. This airline app. If you go on your app, if you go on your phone, there's an app that usually you can book flights, and the flights are shown on a map, okay? She took a screenshot of a picture of multiple planes flying over the country. And in the top of the screen, she literally said, she says, this is proof that planes are flying to Gitmo, taking prisoners down there. Compliments of the letter movement. Do you believe that out there tonight? All I've preached is respect for both sides. I don't have to agree with that. I don't have to be disagreeable with that lady. I can pray for that lady. I can feel nothing but love for that lady. But that's nonsense. That is nonsense. And I can look at it as nonsense and not be disagreeing with her. And let me say this too. If I point out false doctrine to somebody, I'm not cursing somebody. I'm not throwing curses on people. I've heard that too. You're just cursing people. You're slandering people. Neighbor, if I wanted to slander people, you wouldn't, some of you don't even know what that looks like. We've never slandered a soul on this show. Never. Ever. And we never will. We've been slandered. Our name's been dragged through the mud all over the place because we don't embrace this Q stuff. But I'm going to tell you something right now. We've always taught respect. That's all we've taught. And I will still teach it tonight. I don't hold animosity toward that group. I don't. I have nothing but love for them. I have family members that embrace it. I still go to my family reunions with them, and I listen to them, and I love them. I don't agree with a word they say, but I still love them. And that's how I feel about those that embrace it. They do not return that favor many times to us that don't. Because most of them will cut ties with you if you don't embrace that. Most of them will do that. So, that's my 2 cents tonight. 3 cents, 4 cents, 5 cents, 6 cents, 10 cents. and so forth. Put some fire in that house if you enjoyed this tonight. Put some fire in that house if you enjoyed this tonight. And Jeff, we love you with the love of Jesus. I truly do, sir. I mean that. But I don't like you being rude in my chat. And that was very ugly tonight. But since you were rude, I addressed it publicly. Since you addressed it publicly. Some people are immune to good advice, and some people have nothing but a lack of manners. Very troubling. Very troubling. No manners. All right. That's enough. I've said it all night. Put some fire in the house if you enjoyed the McFile late night. I told you I was going to get myself in trouble. I'm going to have to go back and read that proverb tomorrow morning. He that refraineth his lips are wise. Did I refrain my lips enough tonight? I'm not sure if I did or not tonight. I may have to go to the Lord and say, Lord, I didn't refrain too good last night. But it is the McFiles, and I'm a podcast host, and I get to run my mouth for an hour and a half, an hour and 21 minutes. I hope you enjoyed it tonight. Pray for your country. Get out there and vote, folks. Get out there and vote. This is who I'm voting for. I'm not voting for RFK. I'm not voting for DeSantis, Haley, Nikki, Tom, Tim, Scott, whatever his name is, Pence. None of them. This is who I'm voting for. We've not lost faith in Trump. I'm praying for Trump, not worshiping Trump, but I'm voting for him. I believe he can do some good things. If he can get back in there, we got to get behind him. And I do pray he makes the right call with his vice president. We need to pray for that too. And I think that's a fair statement. And I was never here tonight. So anything you heard on this show, I categorically deny because I was never here. Have a good night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow sometime, tomorrow night, Sunday morning, Sunday night. Mother's Day's coming up. Happy Mother's Day to all you moms. And then Monday night, triple header Monday night. Magdalene Rose, Victor Avila, and Cleo from Down Under. Woo! Going to be a lit Monday on the McFiles. Until then, McDonald out on this Monday night or Friday night. Happy birthday, Ezra. Your grandpa loves you. Take care, folks. Have a good night. Put some fire in that house. Good night.